thanks for seeing me. I really appreciate it.
Oh,
So,
no worries.
sorry if I closed the door.
Oh, yeah, you
Okay.
probably should. We got some foot traffic today.
Yeah. So, I just wanted to bring in my letter of accommodation.
Okay.
So, I have a disability that impacts me in the classroom and testing.
Okay.
And so, I met with Holly and just wanted to bring this in here and
Okay.
kind of touch base with you.
All right. So, and she let you know that you do one each quarter.
Yep.
Have you used one of these before?
Yeah. No, I just got registered.
Okay.
So, it's
All right,
kinda
so
new.
let's talk a little bit about how it plays out in my classroom, just so
Okay.
when you walk in the door, you know exactly what to expect and exactly how it's gonna roll.
Okay.
So, I have you in my 10 o'clock math class.
Mhm.
So here, for testing, you have extended time and an alternate location, which
Yeah.
to me kind of go hand in hand, because I don't have my class from the 11 o'clock hour. So to give you extended time, more students, a whole new class would be in
Yeah.
there. So
Okay.
what I normally do on test days, and you'll have at least a week to 2 weeks notice of when your test is coming, okay?
Okay.
So what'll happen on test day, and this is your comfort zone, but I want you to know the flow. Every time we have a test, a quiz, a final, this is exactly what you're gonna do. So it'll be consistent every time. So if, say, our test is Friday,
Mhm.
that means Tuesday, Wednesday, you need to get a hold of the testing center
Yeah.
and schedule a time.
Okay.
And I like it to be during class time, but you may have an 11 o'clock class, so you can't.
Yeah.
But it has to be the day of the test.
Okay. I do have an 11 o'clock, so could I start maybe at like 9?
Yes, I always
Or
turn it in the day
9:30?
before.
Okay.
So it'll be there the day before, but you have to take it the day of.
Okay.
But when you make your appointment, make sure and say, it's an hour test, but I get an hour and a half.
Okay.
Okay, and what'll happen the day of the test, you come in with all the other students on time, everybody turns in their homework, you turn in your homework when everybody sits down and I start handing out the tests, you just exit the room and you'll go to the testing center or your next
Okay.
class, whatever you need. What I want to tell you is, if say something happens and you can't take the test till 3 o'clock that day,
Mhm.
I'm already gone for the day.
Okay.
So I don't want you panicked Friday night, Saturday, looking for your test score and it's not there.
Okay.
So you'll be testing in that testing location.
Okay.
And normally it's a quiet room. Sometimes they'll have people coming in and out and there'll be other testers just like yourself.
Yeah.
But when you make the appointment, if you want a room all by yourself, you have to be real specific so that they schedule that properly.
Right.
And then I'll
yeah.
post your homework grades and you'll see exactly how that rolls. So every time we have a test, we'll do that.
Okay.
And if you're nervous the first time, I can walk over with you to make the appointment so you know
Okay.
exactly what to say and what to ask. Because I also teach GED classes and sometimes they'll think you're talking about a GED test
Okay.
when you're not.
So if I start the test, because I have an 11 o'clock class, if I
Mhm.
start the test at 9:30, could I bring my homework to you like at
Yeah.
9 or slip it under your door?
So everybody, yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
That's
great.
absolutely perfect. So
Okay.
you've had extended time and taken a test in a different location and that's worked well.
Yeah.
Okay. Sometimes I have smaller classes and I only have 10 students and sometimes people
Mhm.
will say, I want to try it here. It's completely up to you.
Okay.
But you can't retake it if that didn't work. So if
Right.
this works, I would stick with what you know.
Okay.
Okay.
Should I? So a couple days before the test, should I remind you that let you
Yeah,
know, hey, I'm going to use my
Yep.
accommodation?
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
Okay.
absolutely.
And then I'll schedule with the
Yeah.
testing
And then
center.
the day before I give the test to the other students, I make sure and take all your stuff over there, so it's at the testing center.
Okay.
Because that's the last thing you need is to show up and then you're tested in there,
Right.
right?
Do I bring the test back to you, or
Nope,
they
they
take
collect
care of it? Okay.
They'll collect
great.
everything, your scratch paper, note card,
Right.
everything.
Okay.
Because sometimes students will have it correct on the scratch paper, but not on their test.
Oh, okay.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, and you may look up and see classmates.
Okay.
So don't be nervous about that, because
Yeah.
other people are just like you.
Yeah.
Right.
So-
I also see note taking. So
yeah.
tell me how note taking works for you.
So it's really hard for me to focus in class, especially when people are doing stuff
Mhm,
or
mhm.
writing, and so I'll get some of it. I'll try my own notes, but I often notice there's like things I'm missing and gaps. So
Okay.
in my note taking,
So let me explain to you in math how I structure my class and my notes, and you tell me what will work for you.
okay.
Because I find that math notes sometimes are different than science notes or
Yeah.
English notes, right? You may notice that too.
Yeah.
So when I do notes, I try to capture all of my learning styles. So what happens is sometimes you'll think, did she just say that? Yeah, and I probably just did, because I'll write out definitions.
Okay.
I will do sample problems. So it's mixed up of all the different learning styles. And normally when my students first start, they write everything down.
Yeah.
Until they start saying, oh, well, I only ever use this part, well, I only use this part. So you kind of find how your learning style matches.
Okay.
But what I'd like to do, I've had students with note takers before.
Uh-huh.
So I'm not saying write everything down, but I want you engaged in the learning process.
Yeah.
So what happens is, when I'll write example, because all my notes, I'll label them example. So when you see an example pop up, I want you to do the example on your scratch paper. So you're doing it in the moment with us, so if you have questions, you can ask. You don't have to worry if you have to scribble it out or you didn't get all this stuff written and now there's an example, because you'll have those notes as backup.
Right.
But that way you're engaged in what's happening and you're not worried about, oh, I'm still writing this.
Yeah.
Because it's hard to be engaged in
Do
what's
it
being
all.
taught and get it all written at the same.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that way you're engaged in those and you can actively ask questions that you would maybe not show up until you were doing homework.
Okay. Okay.
And I'm not saying the next part is you, but I
Okay.
do have students sometimes that with note takers and it's a sunny day decide, well, I have a note taker. So I just want you to know it doesn't take
DSS said
yeah.
I had to be in class in order to receive the accommodation.
Right,
so,
that's
yeah.
perfect. That's
Yeah.
perfect.
So,
So depending on your comfort zone,
uh-huh.
I'm just meeting the class as well.
Right.
But a couple of the students I've had before, and I know that they have good attendance and they
Okay.
take good notes.
Yeah.
Would you like me to pick one, or do you have somebody in class that you know? What do you
I-
prefer?
Yeah, it'd be okay if you pick one. I don't know anybody in the class.
Okay.
So.
Okay, so another question.
Mhm.
This person, I will ask them to take notes. Now they'll have carbon copy from Holly.
Yeah.
Did she show you that?
Yeah.
Okay. So what happens is they'll tear that apart
Mhm.
and they'll give me the copy. Then after everybody leaves, you can come get the copy from me.
Okay.
What I find as the quarter progresses and you get more comfortable with your classmates, you're probably just going to get up and take the notes from that
Yeah,
person.
that's fine.
Until
They
you're
just give them
comfortable.
to me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Some people are a little shy about it till they know.
Right.
Whatever your comfort zone is, you just have to tell me.
Okay.
And we'll work through
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I find that that's usually what happens as we go, because
Yeah.
you don't want to wait till everybody leaves, because you have to get to your next class too. But
Right.
again, it's your comfort zone.
Okay. Okay.
And
Sometimes I just need to step out of class.
okay.
Just briefly. Do you want me to notify you or just kind of slip out? It's just like for a
just-
minute or two.
Yeah, no worries. Just give me a little wave and slip out the back.
Okay.
Try not to sit in front of a bunch of people that notice if you get up and
Yeah.
leave. But
Okay.
Usually
I usually
my
sit on the
classrooms- yeah.
side so I can.
and usually my
kinda slip
classrooms
out.
aren't too full, so
Okay.
that's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know what makes you want to take breaks. Sometimes it's the pressure of too many people in a classroom. So if I have a small class, that's usually not a big deal.
Mhm.
It just depends.
Mhm.
But yeah, I have
Okay.
students sometimes that just need to stand up because they're
Yeah.
back or whatever.
Right.
As long as they're not blocking somebody's view.
Yeah, yeah.
That's no worries. Our
Okay.
classes are only 50 minutes. It's not like
Okay,
your high
so-
school day that's long.
Right. So it won't be too often. Every once in a while, I
Yeah.
need to, but yeah.
But it's
generally
not
it'll be
it's not
okay.
something where I need to go check on you if you
No,
get
no.
Well, health
Well, the
conditions. I
sun's
just
out.
don't-
No.
Right. All right. And
So-
was there anything else that you felt was really important for me to know about you and how you learn?
No, I mean, just sometimes it just takes me a little bit longer to process. So, do you do any where students can work on problems in class?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
towards the end of the
Yes.
lecture.
Yes.
So I may not get as far as another student.
I
It's
usually
taking
don't
me-
collect those,
Okay.
so you'll be fine.
Okay.
But that's part of why I put examples in my notes.
Mhm.
I write down the directions that you're going to encounter tonight when you do your homework, and you're going to
Okay.
think, what are those
Follow
directions
it.
mean? Right, I
Yeah.
know how to do the problem, but I don't understand the directions.
Yeah.
So I make sure when I do my sample problems, I use the exact same directions that are in the book.
Okay.
That way you have examples of exactly what we're going to do. And sometimes we'll have a few minutes left at the end of the class period, and I'll have students skim through the homework tonight. Is there any that you have see you're having a problem with?
Okay.
And you may say, oh, I don't like 49. I say, okay, let's do number 50.
Yeah.
Because they're similar problems, just different numbers. And then you'll have an example of how to go through that.
Yeah.
But I think that's just part of finding your voice and being comfortable with your classmates. Because I think
Mhm.
everybody's kind of uncomfortable in the beginning.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
True. So. Okay.
So, well, and like you said, sometimes it takes you a little bit longer to think.
Mhm.
So when we do sample problems
Mhm.
and I ask for answers, I'll only call on you if you raise your hand.
Okay.
That way you're not put on the spot and
Yeah,
called
I
out.
appreciate that. Yeah.
Well, and we always have
So-
blurters that blurt the wrong answer anyway.
Yeah. So,
But I think
Okay.
as you grow, you'll get more comfortable with
Yeah.
that too.
Yeah.
So it's completely
Okay.
up to you. So does that sound like a good plan?
Yeah. Yeah, that does.
Okay.
So,
And I want you to know too that as you go throughout the quarter, you may find that there are other things that come up that you need help with, and all you have to do is revisit Holly and come back and see me.
Right, she
Yeah.
said that, so,
Yeah.
okay,
She's real thorough, but we
Okay.
don't always know what's gonna come up until you
Right.
experience the class.
right, yeah, so, okay, so.
Sound good?
Yeah, so I'll make sure I let you know before each test, a couple
Mhm.
days, and then schedule with the testing center, the appointment, so.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
okay.
you should be smooth there.
Okay, does it, well, does it matter if you use pen or pencil? I mean,
I
pencil's
don't care
probably
at all.
better,
Yeah.
but, okay,
Yeah.
yeah, so,
And if you use pen and you scribble on your test, just make sure you label your scratch paper real nice and you'll be fine.
okay,
No
great.
worries.
Alright, awesome.
Off to a good
So,
start this quarter.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
So thank you so much.
All right, thanks for coming in.
Alright, see ya.
See ya.